The family next door claimed their teen needed a quiet space to study and demanded I stop playing music in my own home. When I refused, they pounded on my walls and threatened to report me for noise disturbance. I installed soundproofing and announced, "Now you won't hear a thing," including me calling code enforcement about your midnight arguments. I bought my house in Garland, Texas after my divorce. That place was supposed to be my fresh start. Nothing fancy, 3-bed, 2-bath ranch-style house with a fenced-in backyard and neighbors close enough to smell each other's grilling on Sundays. I liked it quiet, but not dead silent. I had my routines. Come home from work, crack open a shiner, cook dinner, play some blues or classic rock low in the background. Music made the silence feel less lonely. 3 years in, I had no issues with any neighbors. We'd wave, exchange Christmas cookies, sometimes shoot the breeze about the Cowboys or the Heat. Then the Luthers moved in. Greg and Melissa Luther. 2-story house just to the right of mine. They had a teenage son, Ethan, and a golden retriever named Tank. They seemed like the live, laugh, love type, big vinyl wall quotes and spotless windows. For the first 6 months, everything was fine. They were quiet. I was quiet. We nodded from our driveways. I didn't think much of them. Then one day I came home from work and found a note taped to my door. Printed out. Formal. Our son is preparing for the SATs and needs absolute quiet to study. Please refrain from playing music during evenings and weekends. Thank you for your understanding. No signature. No neighborly tone. Just a demand. Now, I'm not the type to stir the pot, so I let it slide. Turned the volume down, even skipped music some nights. I figured it was a stressful time for them. I get it, school's competitive. I thought it'd pass. But 2 weeks later, another note. We appreciate your efforts, but the music is still too distracting. Please stop playing music entirely while our son is studying. This is a crucial time for his future. That one pissed me off. No one's music can be that loud through insulated walls. And I never played anything past 8 p.m. I checked the volume. It was the same level I'd always used. Nothing crazy. Legal. So I ignored the second note. That's when things escalated. I started getting these loud bangs on the wall we shared. 3 hits, always around dinner time. At first, I thought something fell on their side. Then it happened again. And again. Same time. Same pattern. Always when I turned on music. One night, I turned the stereo off and sat in silence. Then I heard them through the wall. "He's doing it on purpose," Ethan said. "You just need to stay focused." "I'll take care of it," Greg replied. About 10 minutes later, my doorbell rang. It was Greg, standing stiff in his khakis and polo shirt, arms crossed like he was giving a lecture. "You're being inconsiderate," he said. "Our son is working hard. He needs quiet." "I'm not breaking any rules," I said. "I play my music at normal volume and it's not even that late. We'll see what the city has to say," he snapped and walked off without another word. Next week, cops showed up. Someone had filed a noise complaint. I let them in. They didn't hear anything. I explained what was going on. They were understanding but said they had to check every call. I offered to play the music how I usually do. They said it was fine. Still, the complaints didn't stop. More banging. More glares in the driveway. One night, I caught Melissa standing in her backyard, just staring at my window like she was waiting for something. Creeped me out. That's when I decided to fight back, but I wanted to be smart about it. I called in a local handyman I knew from church. I told him I needed real soundproofing. Not cheap foam, the good stuff. He gutted the wall facing their house, layered in mass-loaded vinyl, acoustic foam, dense insulation, and sealed it all with a soundproof drywall system. I added thick blackout curtains to the shared windows, too. Took him 5 days. Cost me nearly $3,000. But once it was done, the difference was night and day. I could play music loud enough to feel the bass in my floor, and I couldn't hear a thing on their side. Silence. But I wasn't done. I left a note in their mailbox. "You won't hear a thing anymore. Not even me calling code enforcement about your midnight fights. Enjoy the silence. See, what they didn't know was, I could hear them. For months. Screaming matches. Doors slamming. Greg yelling. Melissa crying. Sometimes Ethan yelling too. Tank barking like crazy. It wasn't just stress. It was constant chaos. I had recordings. Audio from the fights. From the screaming. I didn't want to use them, but I kept them. Just in case. That week, I made a few calls. First, I contacted code enforcement and told them about the regular loud arguments coming from the Luthers' house, midnight fights that woke up the neighborhood. Then I called animal control. Tank was always outside late at night, barking for hours. I told them the dog might be distressed. Then I reported them to our HOA for repeated violations, trash bins left out, illegal overnight street parking, and front yard clutter. 2 weeks later, I started seeing city trucks come by. Animal control knocked on their door twice. A police cruiser pulled up one night. I watched from behind my curtain as Greg yelled at the officer on the front porch. A few days later, Melissa was outside, tearing up one of those vinyl wall decals that said "Family is everything." Then the for sale sign went up. They were gone within 2 months. Just packed up, sold the place fast, and vanished. Now, the new neighbors are a young couple. Friendly. Chill. They even asked me to recommend a few blues albums. And now I'm just here, sipping my shiner, playing my music, and smiling every time I think about the note I left them. A few months after the Luthers moved out, I figured the whole thing was behind me. That chapter was closed. I wasn't expecting anything more to come from it. Then, one Sunday morning, I saw a car I didn't recognize parked across the street. Black sedan. Tinted windows. Didn't belong to any of the new neighbors. It was just sitting there, engine running. No one got out. I watched it for a while, then forgot about it. But the next weekend, it was there again. Same car. Same spot. Just sitting. This time, it stayed for almost an hour. I stepped outside, took out the trash, walked slowly to the curb and glanced over. Couldn't see much through the tint, but I felt it. Someone was watching. The car peeled away when I looked too long. I thought maybe I was just being paranoid, but that feeling stuck with me. 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was just one sentence typed out. You think you won, but this isn't over. No name. No explanation. Nothing else. I don't scare easy. I'm not the paranoid type. But this was personal. And it had the Luthers written all over it. So I started digging. I remembered that Greg Luther worked in insurance. I found his LinkedIn. Said he moved to a town about 40 minutes north McKinney. Then I found Melissa's Facebook. Her posts had turned cryptic. Quotes about betrayal, false friends, and people who ruin lives and pretend to be innocent. I didn't respond. But I started keeping a log. Every car that parked too long near my house. Every weird thing I noticed. Mail tampered with, trash cans knocked over, small dents on my car I couldn't explain. Then things got worse. One night, I came home from work and my back gate was wide open. Tank, yes, their dog, was in my backyard. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. But it was him. Same scar above his eye, same limp in the back leg. He looked thinner, like he'd been living rough. No collar. I called animal control, but they were backed up. Said it would take a day or two. So I put out some food and let him stay in the yard. He barked all night. At nothing. At everything. The next morning, I found a note shoved under my door. He misses us. Just like we miss peace and quiet. That was the last straw. I started talking to a buddy of mine who worked as a private investigator. I asked him to find out what was going on with the Luthers. He dug up some dirt. Turns out, they didn't sell the house voluntarily. Greg had lost his job. Melissa had filed for separation. Ethan had dropped out of school. The fights I'd heard were just the surface. Things were falling apart behind those walls before I ever turned on a radio. And apparently, They blamed me. I didn't know how far they'd go, but I wasn't going to sit back anymore. I bought cameras. Real ones. Night vision, motion detection, cloud uploads. I installed them front and back. Posted signs. I reinforced the locks. I kept the recordings from the cameras, started documenting everything. And I kept the dog. Yeah. I took Tank to a vet, had him chipped, and adopted him officially. He needed someone. And honestly, I think I did too. That's when I made a new move of my own. I printed every HOA violation. Every noise complaint I ever received, false as they were. I took photos of the gate left open, of Tank in the yard, of the strange cars. I printed Melissa's public posts, the threatening notes, and put them all in a neat folder. Then I sent the whole thing to their new HOA. And to Greg's last listed employer. And to Melissa's church. I wasn't doing it to be cruel. I just wanted them to stop. To know that if they wanted to keep pushing, I could push back harder. But they didn't stop. They escalated. About 2 weeks after I sent out the folder, things went quiet. No more strange cars. No more notes. Tank started to relax too, stopped pacing at night, even laid by the back door like he felt safe. Then one night, I got home late after a long shift. I stepped inside, dropped my keys, and something fell off. The smell hit me first. Like burnt plastic. Then I heard it clicking, a soft electrical hum. I followed it to my living room. Someone had jammed a small device into the side of my stereo system. It was rigged with a cheap timer, hooked into the power supply. I didn't know exactly what it was, but it looked like it could have shorted out the whole thing or maybe even started a fire. I yanked the plug. Called the cops. They didn't find fingerprints. But they confirmed it was some kind of makeshift overload device. If I hadn't gotten home when I did, it might have sparked a fire. That wasn't just harassment. That was a threat. I gave the cops everything, the notes, the history, the folder I'd send out. They made a report. Said they'd look into it, but we both knew it was going to sit in a file somewhere. So I took it to someone else. There's a guy named Rich who owns a security shop in Mesquite. He's ex-military, paranoid, and good at what he does. I paid him under the table to sweep my house. Full sweep, wires, bugs, trackers. He found one. Under my truck's rear bumper. Small GPS tracker. Cheap, but it worked. He removed it and smashed it with a hammer right in front of me. Then he looked me in the eye and said, "You got someone real obsessed. This ain't normal neighbor drama. You need to finish this." He was right. I started watching everything. I started following them. With some digging, I found out Greg had moved into a small duplex in McKinney. Alone. Ethan was now doing online classes from a community college. Melissa, though, she was still bitter. Still posting cryptic crap online about betrayal and people destroying futures. Then one day I saw it. She posted a photo of a local coffee shop, tagged herself there. So I went. I sat 3 tables away, hat pulled low. She was with a friend, ranting. Loud enough that I could hear some of it. "He made us move," she said. "He turned people against us. Now Greg's sleeping on a couch, and Ethan can't even walk past a stereo without flinching." Her friend asked something I couldn't hear. Melissa answered, "He deserves to be scared. He thinks this is over? I'm just getting started." That's when I knew she was the one behind everything. The tracker. The device. The notes. Greg had unraveled. Ethan was a casualty. But Melissa? She was driving this thing. So I made one last call. I called her sister. I had her number from when we all exchanged emergency contacts years ago, before the war started. I told her everything. Calmly. Clearly. I told her I wasn't looking to cause more trouble. I just wanted it to stop before someone got hurt. Her sister was quiet the whole time. Then she sighed and said, "I believe you. And I'll take care of it." A week later, I saw a sheriff's car outside Melissa's duplex. I don't know exactly what happened in there, but the car stayed for nearly an hour. After that, the strange cars stopped. No more notes. No more social media digs. Just silence. And then another twist. I got a letter. Not typed this time. Handwritten. Neat, careful cursive. You won. I hope it was worth it. One day, someone will do to you what you did to us. No name. But I knew. This wasn't over. It was just waiting for round 2. After that last letter, I didn't sleep right for a week. I kept the lights on. Kept Tank inside at all times. I checked the locks 3, 4 times a night. I didn't tell anyone, not even my closest friend, Jason. Because deep down, I knew I wasn't just the victim anymore. I'd pushed back hard. I'd exposed them, humiliated them, triggered something dark in Melissa. And now I was stuck in this never-ending Cold War where nothing happened, but everything might. Then it all blew up. A few months after the letter, on a Friday night, I got a visit from the cops. Not just a patrol car. 2 detectives. They came with a search warrant. They said they'd received an anonymous tip that I had illegal surveillance set up around the neighborhood, that I was spying on people. I let them in. I had nothing to hide. My cameras were legal, pointed only at my property, everything stored on a cloud server with a timestamp. But it didn't matter. The tip had stirred something bigger. One of the detectives asked if I had any conflict with neighbors. I gave a clipped answer, mentioned the Luthers, the complaints, the dog. I didn't go into detail. They nodded, said they'd follow up. Then came the second hit. My job called me in for a meeting. Anonymous emails had been sent to HR, claiming I was unstable, harassing neighbors, and dangerous. They didn't fire me. But they put me on unpaid leave while they looked into it. 2 blows in 1 week. Both from shadows. I knew it was Melissa. There was no one else who would go this far. And I snapped. I pulled everything I had. Every note. Every screenshot. Every recording. I organized it into a massive file and sent it out to the police, to my HOA, to my job's legal team, even to a local news station that loved neighborhood dispute stories. Then I did something petty. I posted a public message on the neighborhood Facebook group with all the details. I laid out everything. I didn't name names, but everyone knew who I was talking about. It went viral. Comments exploded. People picked sides. Some blamed me for taking it too far. Others said Melissa had always seemed unhinged. The story spread. Soon her church cut ties with her. Her part-time job at the rec center dropped her. And then I got the call. Melissa had been taken into custody. She'd been caught on camera by another neighbor, planting a new tracker under my truck. When cops searched her place, they found more devices, printed photos of my house, and detailed notes about my daily schedule. She was charged with stalking, harassment, and tampering with private property. Greg tried to distance himself, but the story dragged him in. Turns out, he'd been helping fund her projects. His name was on receipts for equipment. His job let him go. Ethan? He left town. Moved to Arizona with his aunt. Word was, he wanted nothing to do with either parent anymore. It should have felt like justice. But it didn't. Tank stopped eating for days after the arrest. He'd grown attached, and now he was confused all over again. I watched the news clips play out, people cheering me on like I'd won some kind of battle. But I hadn't. I'd survived it. Barely. My reputation was stained. My peace was gone. I was known as that guy in the neighborhood. The one with the drama. I kept my cameras up. Kept my doors locked. Even after Melissa was sentenced to probation and mandated therapy, I never really relaxed again. One night, after everything, I sat in the backyard, Tank curled by my feet, and I thought about the moment it all turned. The second note. The first bang on the wall. I could have gone over. Talked like neighbors. Tried harder to de-escalate. But I didn't. I fought fire with fire. And now I live in silence. Not because I have to. Because I want to. Because the noise of what happened still echoes in my head every time I turn the music on. That's what revenge really feels like. Not victory. Just quiet. And the price of making it.